Wow, guys, Trump's borders are completely destroys Wolf Blitzer after he says one thing about President Trump and his border policies. I need you guys hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel so you don't miss none of the new videos that I post. Get right to it.
Homan. Tom, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
You heard what the Republican leader, the majority leader, Mitch McConnell, just said, that every Republican in the Republican conference, they don't want to see what's going on right now, these little kids separated from their moms and dads as they await adjudication. What do you say about that?
Nobody wants to see it. You know, I'm a law enforcement officer for 34 years. These men in the Border Patrol, men and women at ICE, we're all law enforcement officers. We see sad things every day, but we still got to do our job. So there's a way Congress can address it. They can fix this, and that's what we're hoping they do.
Well, the president could fix it too, because it was the Trump administration in April which announced this change from earlier administrations, the Bush administration and the Obama administration, to go ahead and separate these kids from their parents.
No, look, we've been separating families over the last several presidents. If we can't prove familiar relationships, there has been separations.
But this isn't the law.
I don't know why they get this guy on there, Tom Homan, and they ask him the same question about separating families. He hasn't changed in all these years. It's always the same thing. You broke the law. You're not here legally. Leave, or we're gonna make you leave. You know what I mean? Like the same exact questions every time when these people are causing havoc all throughout our cities. You know what I mean? And Tom Homan stands up for us, man. Let's keep going. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button.
This is a policy change that the Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced after it was debated for more than a year by senior officials in the White House.
I've been acting director for a year and a half, and something I said 1,000 times. Entering this country illegally is a crime. The Attorney General is enforcing laws on the books.
So what changed? What changed after April?
Well, you got to understand where this is all coming from, right? We have a lot of families coming up and claiming asylum. Under the current process, we cannot detain those families because of what they call the Florida Settlement Agreement. We can only detain them up to 20 days. They can't see a judge that quick. So they're coached on what to say. They'll say the right thing to get released from detention. They won't show up in court. And when they show up in court, 80% of these people claim in fear and lose their case because they don't have a valid claim. But they're already in the United States. They're lost in society. They never get removed. So as long as we keep sending the world this message, come and say the right thing, get released, never to show up in court, you're never going to fix this.
Most of them do show up in court. They don't necessarily disappear, but just explain how ICE, and we're grateful to the men and women of ICE who do what you're doing. It's a very, very tough job. But something changed as a result of the Attorney General's announcement of a policy change in April. Walk us through how the men and women of ICE now have to change their own attitude, their own responsibilities towards these families coming in.
Listen, guys. If you pay close attention, the way that Wolf Blitzer he does his interviews and he conducts them, he sits there and after you answer the question, he circles back, he circles back, and he circles back. He's expecting his answer to change, guys. That's exactly what Wolf Blitzer did with J.D. Vance. Uh, who else he have on there? He has someone really well known on there, but he just circles back all the time, guys. And I hate how this is called journalism and you're trying to show the public, a different side or try to show them the truth. It's Communist News Network right here, guys. Keep going.
We're not changing our attitude toward anything. We're law enforcement officers. We'll enforce the laws enacted by Congress, laws on the books. They took a sworn oath to enforce the law. This president is letting them do their job, which the last president did not do. But let me fix something. You said that most people do show up in court. Last year, Executive Office of Immigration Review, the Immigration Court, issued over 40,000 removal orders in absentia. These are people that did not show up to get the removal orders.
But you used to have discretion before April on when to take these little kids away from their moms and dads, and now you don't.
We still have discretion. Our officers have discretion every day.
But in the last few weeks, more than 2,000 of these kids have been separated from their parents. I think 2,300, the number we received today.
Okay.
So if we're playing numbers, why aren't you listening to his numbers and the facts that he's saying, right? He's picking apart all the stuff that Tom is saying, right? And it's not making sense. He's trying to make this administration more cruel, more evil than the other one. You know, these people. This should have been a 3-minute interview. These people are here illegally. They need to leave. They came here illegally. That's all it is. Keep going, guys.
So bingo. What do they got to do? If the parents don't want to be separated from their children, they enter through a port of entry through the legal system. When you choose intentionally to violate the laws of this country and enter illegally, You put yourself in that position.
But
You put your child in that position. So if you want to blame
but you
somebody
did have
for,
some discretion
if you want to
before.
blame somebody for separating families, blame the parents who choose to break
I
the
understand
law.
what you're saying, but you did have discretion before April, and now the president says, the attorney general says, the secretary of Homeland Security says, no more discretion. All of these children are going to be taken away from their parents.
Officers still have discretion. There's a zero tolerance policy, but not every family is being separated. They're not being separated if they're small infants breastfeeding. There's a lot. If there's medical issues. Now, the only families we separate at a port of entry are those that we can't prove a family relationship. And people posing as families, the fraud occurring with people saying I'm their parent when they're not, and these kids are actually victims of trafficking, is up over 300%. But our responsibility is for the health and safety of these children.
But you say, you want this, you have discretion. You've been a law enforcement officer for 34 years, and I thank you for all the good work that you've done. But you always have had discretion. When do you charge someone? When do you arrest someone? When do you let that person go? It seems
You arrest someone and charge someone when they break the law. If I have a kid and I get arrested for a DUI, my kid's in the back seat, I'm gonna go to jail. So by default, I'm separated from my family. But you bend the law whenever they come over here. Oh, they have kids. No, they're breaking the law and they're coming over here. That's why they're sneaking and going through all these weird ways, not showing up to court because they know they're breaking the law. Oh, they just want to stay with their families. Go through the port of entry and do it the right way. Guys, this should have been a 3-minute interview. I don't know why he's trying to circle back and circle back. Let's keep going. Let's hope something changes.
now that the president wants no more discretion as far as families are concerned.
The president is doing his job. The president's number one
But he's
concern,
changed policy.
The president is trying to secure the borders of this country, which we have a right to do. We are a sovereign country. We have the right to secure our borders.
But do you have discretion as
the
the head of ICE to decide whether or not to charge someone illegally crossing the border?
I absolutely do.
You have so some people you just let go. Some people you throw in jail.
Every law enforcement ICE has discretion. We practice it every day. There are certain people, when we go out and do operations, we run into people. My officers sometimes will take people into custody, sometimes they won't. They have discretion every day, but they're law enforcement officers. No one should be vilifying the men and women of ICE, and you're certainly not doing it, but a lot of media outlets out there are, for simply doing their jobs. Congress needs to do their job for once. We've been dealing with this immigration issue for the 34 years I've been an immigration officer. They need to pass some legislation.
I totally agree. Congress needs to pass comprehensive immigration reform. You've studied this for a long time, and they haven't been able to do it during any of the recent administrations. It's a tough challenge because there's such a wide disparity of views. But in the interim, until they do that, we see these heartbreaking pictures, and I know you must be heartbroken seeing these little kids taken away crying from their moms and dads. And unfortunately, the men and women of ICE have to deal with this. What do you say to them when they say, we can't do this anymore?
Look, I'm a father, and we all feel bad about what's happening, but we're also law enforcement officers. We have to enforce the laws. The parents are making a choice. They're choosing, rather than entering through a port of entry where they won't be separated, they are taking it upon themselves to enter illegally and have their children taken away. So if anybody's to blame here, it's the parents who made a decision, I'm going to break the law rather than
But
going
if you
to a
say
port
you
of
have
entry.
discretion,
Guys, think about it like this. If you commit a crime, do you want your kids to come to jail with you? Because that's basically what Wolf Blitzer is getting at, right? If he cares so much about these illegals coming over here and breaking the law and not showing up to court, why don't he let them live in his house? He's making a lot of money from CNN, spreading this fake stuff, Why don't they come and live with him? Let me know what you guys think about this quick video. And Tom Homan, you guys might not want to hear it, but he's absolutely right on this one. He's been right. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're out.